Right, we're just going live now. Three,
Yes.
two, one, we're live. So, MACKEM, CABBIE and Davey show with Richie.
Hello.
How you doing, Richie? How's your last few days been?
All right, mate. Just getting over that bit of cold. I'm feeling a bit better today, so I've had a couple of days off as well. So I've just been chilling, really, just plodding on. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, just busy at work, still recovering myself from the, I'm sure it was COVID, what we've had. Just trying to, plod on and stuff. Um,
Uh,
Ian Brown's just popped in. Hello, Ian, you alright, mate? How's things? Um, so tomorrow night then, are you confident for tomorrow night?
I am actually, yeah. Um, I think now, like, obviously, there's a lot word get over the fact of what happened at Hull. It is what it is, and hopefully we can learn some lessons from that. And I'll just obviously just say again what I said the other night. I just want them to come out with a good attitude, have a go at them. You know what I mean? And that's all we want. And I'm sure if we do that, we'll win tomorrow. I am feeling quite confident with it. But again, let's you know attitude first and foremost. A bit more effort. You know what I mean? Show that you actually want to win the game. I mean, what do you reckon, mate?
My confidence is low. Just obviously with the last two results and just the way we played against Hull. It just concerns me with some of the attitude and effort from some of our players, like Patwan and Bellingham, to be quite honest with you. So I want to see a drastic improvement.
Mhm. No, agreed. Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
I don't know whether do you ever tune into SAF's to the BBC Radio Newcastle on the Total Sports show every night?
Not really, mate. No, I haven't got it. I haven't got a proper DAB radio.
Have you? No,
Um,
you can listen to it if you've got it. You can get it online. It's just the BBC Sounds app, and you can
all right.
and it's dead good. That's where I met Davey. I spotted him on there, and I asked him to come on here, and we've never looked back. And that's you get Newcastle fans and Sunderland fans all phoning up. It's about the North East big teams. Yes. And there was one Sunderland fan phoned in today, and he says he asked Kieran Brady. He says, Kieran, he says, do you think Joe Bellingham's been running around like a cart horse these last few games? And I think he's got a valid point. His name was Arthur, and he phoned up and he says Bellingham's just been running around like a headless chicken. And it's like it's so unlike Bellingham, because usually we're a different kettle of fish when Bellingham's in the squad. What do you think's happening with Bellingham then? What do you think? Because it's not just me that's saying that. There's a lot of Sunderland fans saying Bellingham's gone missing.
He has. I mean, for me, I love Joe. I love his game. And not to stereotype it like he likes, but like he does remind us of his brother quite a lot. And it's again evident as well when he hasn't been in the team. We've really struggled especially in that midfield. But the team overall has struggled without him. I don't know. Maybe it could just be a dip in form. It keeps sick of seeing it, but tiredness, fatigue, etc. I mean, he's only a young in himself, but he is learning his game still in that midfield. I don't know. I really don't know. I just maybe hope it is just a dip in form, and he will pick it back up eventually. But there's obviously in the back of your mind as well. Could he be considering leaving? Is he kind of weighing up his options at the minute? Maybe thinking, if Sunderland don't get promoted, what's my plan next? Because we've all heard it, social media and places, that there is big teams looking for him, like Dortmund want him, and obviously there's rumours about him going to Madrid to join his brother.
Yeah, you sort of get like the impression, don't you? Like it's as if like his head's been turned a little bit, and it's like it's getting to the business end of the season where the season's just about finishing and that, and is the players on that pitch that already know that they're not going to be here next season. I mean, that could be affecting them. The fact that it's looking more and more likely that Sunderland are not going to get the top two. Is it the case that he's already made his mind up?
Maybe not just Ford, it could be a few more players that maybe start weighing up the options, don't they? Because again, there's been talk about Dan Neil as well, isn't there, getting a move to the Prem. And then now obviously there's all this interest in Wilson. He's a door, even though we've signed him and I think his contract's till 2028. I think there's still every chance, he could go. But with going back with Job, I just hope it is just a dip in form. And when you see him, and he's getting that badge and he's gone like that, the fans, I just hope he means it, because we see too many players doing that these days. And did they actually mean it? I'm here for you, I'm going to give you everything for this club, no matter what happens. But I guess I think it's just a wait and see with him, and just hopefully you'll put in that performance tomorrow night with obviously the rest of the squad.
All right, James, he's just come in the chat and he reckons he just think that he's knackered. And a Sunderland fan phoned up the radio station today, and he was talking about the team being knackered, and Kevin Brady was basically saying that's a load of tosh. He says, like, you're supposed to be athletes and stuff. He says, if Isadore's header went in, and it was 1-1 against Hull, and we'll put our other chances away and we beat them, we wouldn't be talking about this fatigue, and we wouldn't be talking about like unfitness and that we're knackered. But the bottom line is, we'll have to talk about it because that did happen. And there's a pattern happens with Sunderland, doesn't there? At this latter end of the season, under this new model of bringing the kids in, we always seem to tail off, don't we? It seems to happen where we're running out of steam. We've got injuries. Of course, now we know that Ballard's going to be up to 6 to 8 weeks, and we all know Enzo Lefebvre is going to be injured between anything between 4 to 6. So it's just the usual same scenario, isn't it? That they're just running low on steam, but. Other teams have to be affected by that as well. I mean, you could understand the three big guns like the Burnley, Leeds United, and Sheffield. Sorry, the Burnley, Sheffield United, and Leeds United. You can understand it because they've literally got two full. Well, they've got two depths in squads, haven't they? They've got such a good squad from being in the Premier League. But you would think the other teams in the playoffs will have the same problem as what we have. Do you know what I mean? They're going to have injuries. They haven't got as much strength in depth. But what they have got is they have got the experience. Now, I know people say the table doesn't lie. We're currently fourth at the minute, aren't we? And the table doesn't lie. And we're well clear at the minute at the playoffs. But it's like, when you watch the 10,000 metre running on the athletics track and stuff, and it seems to you get the fitter runners coming forward at the last few laps of the race, and then you see who's the fittest out the lot of them, and it seems to be we're on the home straight just about, and it's already starting to tell on Sunderland, and the other teams around us are going to start catching us up as we start running out of steam and start getting injuries. Just like last season, carbon copy of last season. We're just in a better place league-wise. I don't know. I look at the team's performance and I just see there's an attitude problem there. Is it just me that sees that? I mean, I can just see the Leeds first half was amazing, but that Hull City game was like such a half-hearted effort. It just looked like they weren't interested, and that's what concerns me. I didn't see a unit out there. Against Hull, I didn't see a togetherness.
Yeah, there was certainly something up there, wasn't there? Don't know. I mean, looking back as well, I had a look at obviously how the team lined up. We played a 3-4-3 against Hull, pretty much that full match. And he's I don't know why he's done that, but I did watch the game back. Obviously, seeing that Daniel was dropping in between Luke O'Nien and Ballard a lot, and obviously we pushed Human Circuit up. So it could be something that could. I've never seen him play a 3-4-3 this season, but I did notice it against Hull. It's not an excuse really, but it's just, could that have been possibly something else that's affected them? But it's just attitude. I just think when you're down and you're tired, you know what I mean, your attitude does follow and it does go down. But like, I can see both sides of the argument really, Cabbie. I can say it that they shouldn't be like that. They are athletes, you know what I mean? They shouldn't be getting fatigued as easily as this. But then there's obviously the other side of the argument that they are a bunch of young lads without really a leader.
That's
in my opinion.
Yeah. Hello, Stephen Martin's just joined the chat. Ian Brown says, we were lucky to have this point gap as we are entering the lack of squad depth. Well, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos that I put up over these last few days. And I put a post up, if I can bring it up, and it says, our owners don't want promotion. That was the subject, and I got quite a bit of feedback on that. It's like 90 odd comments, and Janet says, she says, I disagree. She says the owners would like money that comes with promotion. And Nick says, he says, I agree 100%. He says with that, he says they showed all ambition in January. He says this was our big chance. He says chances are lose some of our best players because of how young they are, and next year will be even harder. He says surprised that our fans don't actually see this. Roy says spot on. He says because if we go up, we'll need around 70 million investment just to survive. He says these lot won't spend 7. You know, there's a lot of people are just still fed up with the lack of investment we got in January. And we've got the Ferret says you are 100% correct, Cabbie lad. He says I've been saying this for a long time now. He says it took them 31 days to sign an injured 19-year-old. He says that's disgraceful for a club of our size. He says no ambition whatsoever. He says we've needed a replacement for Ross Stewart for 2 effing years. He says now personally I wish KLD, he says, would sell up and go. He says we will achieve nothing with him as an owner. He says because, I mean, do you think is that a harsh reply, do you think?
I can see both sides again of this argument, but I do have a question to ask you, and obviously whoever is in chat as well, what they think. And this might split opinion a little bit. And I'm not in any way sort of like saying we've made a wrong decision, but I think we spent, like I said to you before, I think we've spent too much on getting Lafayette. I think, without seeing the details, we're paying half his wages, so let's just say that's about what, 35,000. Yeah. And then obviously there's going to be a loan fee. There'll be other clauses like appearance fees, assist fee, whatever there is. There will be stuff in there, right? We'll sign Wilson Isidore permanently as well. So what I want to know is because we've already got Tommy Watson, we've got Mondo for that left-hand side, we've also got Lexic that can play there as well. And we have got cover on the right-hand side with Mayenda, Roberts. We've got cover in midfield when everybody's fit. Would you have preferred that money to be spent on another striker, rather than Enzo Lafayette? And do you think the club have given in to sort of like the brief, obviously with his good start, and he said, "I want this player. This is going to get us there." And they've given and went, right, okay, whatever. We'll give you the money for this player. Don't get us wrong, Enzo Lafay is class. I'm not dissing the guy in any way, and I think he's absolutely quality in the games I watched him. But do you think that money should have been spent on a striker instead of him?
It's a tricky one, that, isn't it? Because when
even a known striker,
well, yeah,
from the Premier League, you know what I mean?
Could we have paid at least similar wages for a decent striker who knows where the net is? It's
so
a
I'm wondering,
one.
is there been an error by the team there? I'm sorry, by like KLD, whoever's made these decisions. Have they just went, yeah, no problem with actually thinking, well, actually, no, we need a striker, and don't we?
It's strange because the brilliance that you've seen, right, with Enzo Lafay in a few of the games has been second to none.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. It's a really, really tricky one because, I mean, without the Enzo Lafay, you know, how many chances would we have been getting? I mean, let's look at that Middlesbrough game, for example. Well, he ran the show, didn't he? And that Luke Ayling, he was just nutmegging him for fun. And if we didn't have an Enzo Lafay, how many matches that we possibly would not have won? But yet again, we've been wanting a striker for years, and that's really, really winding the fans up massively. But the thing is, James has just said, hello mate, I was going to say hello to Steve Taylor as well. Good evening guys, this is my prediction tomorrow will be 2-1 from sunny Ben Almeida, wherever that is, but I hope you're enjoying it, mate. And Steve Martin says, think of the money we have to spend. You can see these people spending that type of money, said Stephen. And James says, Enzo's playing out of position for a start. He says, what I can't understand, he says, is with the injuries, he says, we've got, why couldn't LBR rotate the lads in centre midfield and Meyenda on the wing? He says, some of the substitutions have just been absolutely mind-boggling. He's insisting, isn't he, Regis Labrie, if playing Enzo Lafay out on the left. It's, you know, we haven't seen him playing into his natural position, which is like a sort of a number 10 role. I mean, do you think he'd do a better job than Isidore? Because you got to see he's red hot at the minute, Isidore, with his goals.
Who would do better than Isidore? Did you say
Lafay? Lafay, yeah. If he came in and took like the role what Isidore was.
What, as a striker?
Aye.
No. He's too well. Nah, nah. He's not a striker for me. He's saying that like I've never seen him play up front, like, but nah, I just don't think he fits the bill of that. I think he plays more. He could play off a striker, so they could play him and Wilson up front, but play him off him in a sort of like deeper position, or even like a false nine. I don't know if that would work with them two together, but that is an option.
You
but
see,
then it would mean, yeah.
Do you think he sort of felt like he had no qualms of getting Enzo Lafay, because at the time we were so much lacking down that left. We were lacking with Clark gone, Watson injured, Mundell injured, and because he was like he's good friends with Lafay, gets on with him well, it was an easy deal to be done. Maybe that's the reason why that it was time to pounce and bring him in, because he knew where he was going to play him before he even signed, didn't he? It was obvious where he was putting him straight away, and he did make a massive impact the minute he came on. But it's going to be interesting, you know, when say like Watson makes a return. How's he going to fit around things? But yeah, to saying that we're now talking it differently now, because Lafay is going to be out for up to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you're just saying, do you think we're wasted a lot of money paying like his wages and stuff? But look, that can happen with any player. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Look, a player can get injured. It doesn't matter who it is. That's a good one to put to the chat. I mean, if you had the choice, would you rather have not signed Enzo Lafay and got a recognised striker in? Let's say a loan striker from the Premier League or something like that. Would you have rather Sunderland have done that and paying, say, good wages for this recognised striker than getting Enzo Lafay? I mean, it's an interesting one. That's a good point. Because I've said all along, Isidore isn't an out-and-out striker. He's not. He came to Sunderland not as a striker.
Plays out on the left. That's what I was saying a few weeks back. Your Cabby says even if we've got another striker in, Isidore can play on that left if we do get the injuries. And I've seen him a few times and he's drifting out to that wide position. And obviously people are comparing to like Thierry Henry. But he can do that job and he can cut in. He's very dangerous when he gets in that box.
Hello, David Walker. How are you doing, mate? Yeah, carry on, Rich.
No, I'm saying it's just going back to the like fee thing. I'm not saying it was a bad decision at all. No way on that. He's quality, and we need something like that in our squad. It's just I don't know whether they've kind of jumped at it without considering, thinking actually, you know what I mean. We do need cover up front. Let's see what the market's got. I don't know how many. I don't know if there was like any other teams actually interested in the fee where they've had to actually jump in as quick as they could. It is interesting.
It was a rapid transition. Like, I mean, there wasn't one Sunderland fan fed up. Basically, they were chuffed to bits, and there was an excitement. There was a buzz when we signed them. Do you know what I mean? And
there was. There
was then just this huge bit of optimism coming in. It's like, yeah, we mean business here. And then there was all of a sudden this huge great gaping of nothingness for the rest of January, and it's like it's really fell flat. Going back to some of the comments when I asked about do the owners not wanting Sunderland to go up. David Brown says he says securing Lafay, he says, so early in the window while being in the mix for direct promotion was on the face of it. He says a real lure to secure other players. He says who would strengthen the squad. He says recruitment failed to build on that promising position. He says there is something putting off players with any experience joining us. He says it's been apparent since promotion to the Championship that there's a serious disconnect between team, coaches and senior administration. He says for promotion to be a success, he says, I would look at revamping administration as if I have any say. He says that's obviously just my opinion. So that's just a strong one. Col Malcolm says, I think the owners are realistic. He says, I know that even if they bought 4 good players in the window, there is no guarantee of promotion. He says, we've got 2 very good permanent signings in the window, and if it's not as if the players are queuing up to sign for us, is it? He says, time is needed to develop a good team. He says, and people need to remember that it's not as easy as pushing a remote control button and suddenly we'll have a great team. We need to keep our feet on the ground and support the big improvements that have been achieved and keep supporting the team. He says, stirring the negativity pot will achieve nothing for the team and supporters. It's kind of hard, isn't it, trying to get from strength to strength and grow as a team when you keep getting starlets coming through and then they leave. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're losing players. It's such a vicious circle. And Stephen Martin just said in the chat, he says, if we were to get promoted, he says, can you see us buying 2 top strikers? If we got promoted.
We've got one that's capable who would have a good go at it. We'll definitely need somebody else that's got Premier League experience or at least top flight experience from, like, you know, the other leagues. But yeah, we'll definitely have to, because if something happens to Wilson, we've got nobody else. And my end, I'll just get swallowed up in the Premier League. He won't be no good up front. You would have to play on the wing. Imagine him playing against like 6'6" defender, experienced Premier League. You know,
Oh,
get
no,
wiped out.
absolutely, totally agree with you. That's I mean, yeah, you look at like Wilson Isadore and all that. He is quality, but he still misses far too many easy chances, doesn't he? I mean, not even getting them on target. Like, for example, that header against Hull. I mean, that should have been on target. A natural goal scorer would have at least got that on target. And there's been quite a few sitters as well that he has missed. And then he scores cracking goals like against Leeds, where he's at a position where you think, oh, he's not gonna do anything here, and he turns his man and bang. It's a strange one, isn't it? It's give him an open chance or an open goal, and you know, he seems to struggle and panic when it's like an easy opportunity, but thrive when it's a near impossible chance and he gets a cracking goal with it.
And I'm sure though that he hasn't played as a striker.
He hasn't.
I'm sure when he was it, I'm sure he played out on the left. It's like sort of like an inside forward sort of position. But it's probably just down to experience, Cabby. That's all it is. For him, he hasn't had enough experience in front of goal by himself as well. It's even harder.
Billy Harrison.
I think he'll come good though, Wilson. You know, eventually, and he will start gaining that confidence, and he'll be quality. And I'm sure Jacob did mention a couple of shows back that he would expect him to be in the France squad. And I can see him. I can see him being there. He's just got to put the work in.
He needs a hand though, doesn't he? He cannot keep doing that on his own. And you know, imagine how much he'd thrive if he had that experience up with him. And I'm not talking about Meander out like that. I mean, and it's just, once again, he just gets burnt out. I mean, he ran his heart out against Leeds. He had nothing left in the tank. You fetch him off, you haven't really got anybody else to replace him.
No.
You haven't?
No.
Billy Harrison's come in the chat. Hello, Billy. You all right, mate? He says, we need to play 4-4-2 against Sheffield Wednesday. D. Halls just says, with 12 goals scored, he says, Isidore is the 4th championship top scorer. Absolutely. He's not even a striker, but... And you look at the likes... Joel Pirro from Leeds? And, you know, he's not far from behind him. I mean, hats off to the lad, without a doubt. Billy says 4-4-2 against Sheffield Wednesday. What do you reckon of that then? Rich, what formation would you like to see us play?
I don't know. Kind of sitting the fence with the 4-4-2. I personally can't see it working. I can see we're just getting overloaded in midfield too easily. Because that defence needs somebody to protect it. I can't see him changing from a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 for the rest of the season. I really can't. You might go 4-4-2 during the game, but starting it, I cannot see it, mate. What do you reckon?
I don't think it's going to change now. I think if he was going to do out, then he would have done it a while back, and I just don't think he's going to stick to his ways at all. I had a Sheffield Wednesday fan comment. Clates is a good lad, and he reckons, he says I think Sunderland will batter Sheffield Wednesday, you know, and he's like, I think he's a bit similar to me with a glass half empty sort of thing. I says, not necessarily, mate. I says, the way we've played, I says, the last few games, I says, it just depends what team Sunderland turn up. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday are going to be trying to close for the playoffs because they're on 45 points. If they did win tomorrow, that puts them on 48 points, and that's just 3 points from a playoff position, bar the fact other teams have got to play. And they were also announcing the dates for the playoffs as well. And Nick Barnes even says it's just about penciled in. Sunderland's in the playoffs. Is it risky to talk that? Would you say Sunderland are concretely evident that the concrete's there? It's the set in stone. They are in the playoffs. Because mathematically they're not, are they?
Not yet. But in the next 5 matches, then we could say that.
12 points. We're 12 points ahead of Coventry. That's that's out the playoffs at the minute. And 11 points off Blackburn and West Brom. 11, 10, 9 if we lost on Friday. 9 points clear doesn't sound as comfortable, does it?
No.
And then if you go 8, 7, 6, do you know what I'm saying? Didn't it get too cocky because you're 12 points clear? Far from it. We've still got the business to do.
Definitely, mate.
I mean, I'm looking at the league table now, and it's not mathematically impossible for someone to catch second, but the law of averages state that the fact it's an absolute mountain task.
Be a miracle for second, in my opinion. But again, you cannot say it won't happen because it just depends on other results, doesn't it?
I think Burnley and Sheffield United have got to play each other, but the trouble is, and I keep saying this week in, week out, have Sunderland got it in them to win 5 or 6 on the bounce? I don't think they have. I don't think they've got the squad. I don't think they've got the fitness to manage that. And I think even if Sheffield United and Burnley do slip up, so are we. You know, if say Burnley lost 3 more games, or 4 more games till the end of the season, Sunderland have got more of a chance of losing 5 games than what Burnley and Sheffield United have. And that's why I don't think we'll catch them. Because we're not fit enough, we're not strong enough to win another 4 or 5 games on the bounce. We just aren't. It's just not going to happen. If anybody in the chat wants to sort of pull us up on that and saying I'm being a bit negative, Nelly here, but I honestly don't think we are. I'm just going to go back in the chat and see what anybody says. Billy Harrison says Isidore gets isolated on his own. He certainly does. Steve Martin says we should go 4-4-2. David Walker says Regis Labrie needs to let the lad attack more, like start of the season, no more sitting back. Billy also says the last time we played 4-4-2 was against Sheffield United and we won that match, and it was New Year's Day, and we played really, really well. If you remember that Sheffield United game, I thought we really bossed that game. John 73 says surely if we get promotion, we'll have Lefay, Isidore, maybe Watson will stay, which isn't a bad starting point. Some will say it isn't, but it's such a big gulf to the Premier League. Steve says also, I don't think we can win 5 or 6, so he agrees with me. Billy Harrison says we need to play 2 up front and there will be a big squad rotation since Enzo Lefay is out for 6 weeks and Ballard is out, and we won't have Jayden Danns at all play for us due to the injury. I mean, how would you approach the Sheffield Wednesday game on Friday then?
I would make a couple of changes, definitely. Obviously, we'll have to, really. Definitely would start Mundell. And to be honest, I would play that ball down that wing to Mundell every single time. We'll get that ball played to him. Because I think he's the only player that we've got. Depending on what Chris Riggs like in the match, you maybe could tell, let's say after about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we can get an idea of what the midfield's like. If we can get Chris Rigg and Mundell on form against them tomorrow night, I just honestly can't see we're having a problem in beating them. I just can't see any threats coming from Sheffield Wednesday. I was reading a little bit earlier that their striker's out injured at the moment. I can't remember his name. I'll find his name again. But he's out injured, and he's obviously the tally man. You know what I mean? So there's a positive for.
It's not Bannon, is it? Because Bannon's not a striker.
No, it's not Bannon. It's Michael. His name. I'll find it. Michael. Michael Smith.
All right. Yeah.
4 assists. But I was reading on one of their fan sites that he's injured and he's a doubt for tomorrow. So that's a good like start for, you know. But yeah, we've got to. In my opinion, we've got to play to our strengths, and I think our strength is down that left-hand side, and maybe Chris Swig, obviously, in supporting behind Isidore. And I think if we do that tomorrow night, I think we've got a really good chance in beating them. And it'll be even better for me if sort of like Paddy Roberts is on form and maybe Trey Humes obviously picked up in Cirkin as well, because we are dangerous when those get forward as well. So I think we've got too much for Chef Wed. I think we've got a better team than them. It's just, you know, just turn up and we're gonna have a go at them.
We've definitely got a better team. John73 says, can't wait for David to be back with his positivity. He's still moving out. He's nearly done and dusted. Billy Harrison says, Mundle and Roberts out wide with Job and Neil in the middle, and him. Hip H Gaming says, rumour, it says no Dennis Cirkin tomorrow, being caught drink driving. Somebody else put that on my channel the other day. I mean, I've heard nothing in that. I've heard nothing in that at all. But something as serious as that, then the club would have to come forward and make a statement and announce that. I don't think they're going to keep that under wraps.
No.
You know, I mean, we've been there before with players. Haven't we? Like, who was the Irish guy that got done drinking driving? He crashed his car and 2 or 3 others.
Oh, the lad from Man United, but
oh man, it was on Sun Until I Die, and straight away the club comes up with the statement. I cannot see it's being Darren Gibson. So I think if he had been done for drink driving, I think it would have been out there by now. You would think, wouldn't you?
It would be something in social media that he's been arrested or something like.
Billy Harrison says Mundle and Roberts out wide. He says Job and Neil in the middle, and Meander and Isidore up front, and at the back Cirkin, Hume, O'Neill, and Meffin, and in goal it will be Patterson in goal. It was Darren Gibson, David Walker. Yeah, well, I mean Patterson. I mean, Regis Labrise already says Patterson's still his number one. And you know, he will be getting picked tomorrow. But you were saying before we have got a better side on paper, but I just thought mentally we're up for it as well as physically tomorrow night.
We've got to beat Cabbie. We've got to beat them. We've got to get off to another good start. Another loss. And then there's got to be some really serious questions being asked of like what's going on. I mean, like, sorry to be negative about it all, like, but I think it's just everybody's on edge. Like, you know, we're in a really good position and we've got a heck of a chance to get back to the Premier League. Whether that's a good choice or not, I don't know. Whether that's another sort of like story to go into. But like, we've got a good chance to get up here. For me, I don't know how you feel, Cabbie, but like, I'm just anxious and I don't want that feeling at the end of the season, to have that gutting feeling. You know what I mean? Just absolutely devastated about it.
I think the trouble is because the bar's been rose that high with Sunderland. I mean, that fantastic start at the beginning of the season. You know, and we have. I mean, let's be fair. We've been there and thereabouts all season. You know, we've been in these playoff positions and stuff, and that is an absolute amazing achievement. You know, without a doubt. I mean, yeah, we just didn't want it to fizzle out in a note. Do you know what I mean? Billy says, so we need to start resting. He says, players. He says, or otherwise we're going to get even worse. I mean,
good point though, that, because we should be rotating the squad. You know, we've got the squad there. Why we're not rotating it? This Alexic that we're supposed to be quality, but how many times have we seen him this season? Maybe, you know, counting one hand how many times I've watched him play. Now that the fee's out, you know what I mean? Maybe that he can come in and play a few more games because he is an attacking midfielder. Why is he not coming in and giving Chris Rigg a rest and replacing him with him? And obviously the same.
Yeah. That has been brought up a few times as well, with other fans and stuff commenting. Hitch Picking Gaming says, to be fair, he says the club could hide the circuit and stuff until the team comes out. He says if you look at the video on YouTube channel, he's nowhere to be seen. And the Sunderland FC have released quite a lot of training videos, and there's no sign of Dennis Cirkin. I mean, there was no sign of him picked up an injury either, was there?
No.
You know, so
I watched it earlier, the training thing, and actually I didn't even notice.
No, it depends what your mind's looking out for, but
that's going to be a blow to our mind if he is out, because we've got no cover on that left now.
Do you know there's still fans saying, since this assistant manager's come in and took our Dodds, we haven't been the same since. And somebody phoned up Total Sport tonight saying the same thing. It's still on the Sunderland fans' minds. Some Sunderland fans are saying that we've not been allowed to play with as much freedom as when Dodds was second in command. It's still people are saying that, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it has changed since he has gone. It's a good point. Like, I mean, it could be a little bit of a hangover from going, and then, you know, he's not fighting their corner to give them that bit of creative freedom on the pitch. Like, so yeah, definitely could be all sorts of things. You know what I mean? Probably just ain't that. I mean, but it's a good point.
I mean, it could be it's a bit hypocritical because I mean, I have read the comments as well saying, "Oh, we've not had a good game today." Is Dodds giving instructions on the touchline? How many times have we heard that? It's like, look, you can't have it both ways. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think he was a bit of a big one to lose on the coaching side. Like I keep saying to you, Cabbie, like a lot of them young'uns look up to him. But we've got to move on for it. We can't just sit on that. You know what I mean? We've got to move on and bring in the right stuff. And then for these new staff members to come in and start making a bond with the players again. It just takes time. But we've got to move on from it, man. We kind of just hang on like the Dodds thing forever and ever. Well,
when was the last time Sunderland had the same coach or same manager through the whole of a season? Was it Jack Ross? Was Jack Ross, wasn't it? Was Jack Ross the last manager to stay a full season with Sunderland? Because usually we've gone through 3 or 4.
Probably, yeah.
Because didn't they got shot at Jack Ross when he failed to get us promoted when we lost the Checker Trade Trophy final against Portsmouth, and then we lost against Charlton in the playoff final, and it was an awful performance by Sunderland on that Wembley game. And you know, we went through managers like Thick Mick and coaches, didn't we, between the Jack Ross era and now. So is it maybe it's good that we have found a bit of stability that way with Regis Labrie, and we've still got him.
Yeah.
You know, so
he's the best manager we've had in a long while. I mean, I did like Mowbray. Can't lie, I thoroughly enjoyed it when he was in charge. But apart from that, there's been nobody else. But that's another thing, Cabbie, is every time a new manager comes in, you've got to get used to a new system.
And
a new way. Yeah. You know what I mean? And demands of what he wants. So it's constantly revolving and changing and changing. And I mean that's an argument that came out obviously about managers in general getting sacked, like Premier League managers getting sacked.
Yeah.
And then the team starting to dip. You know, it has an effect on the team. Of course it does. But I hope we keep Labrie, whether we go up or not.
I do agree that I definitely do think that. I think it's a must. I mean, we've had. Don't forget, we've not long that been in League One, and where we are. I mean, we could be where bloody Luton Town is. Do you know what I'm saying? Look where they were in the dizzy heights of the Premier League, and do you know what I mean? Oh boy, I know. Absolutely. Just going to catch up some more on the chat. Billy says Chris Rigg hasn't done well recently. He says and shouldn't play tomorrow, and someone else should play instead. And he says I think we need to start playing Brown again. Stephen says it's a must. If we don't get promoted this season, we have to go for automatic promotion next season, and it's such a difficult ask that, Stephen, as well, isn't it? Because, like I say, you've always got the parachute teams coming down from the Premier League. Mark my word, Leicester City it'd be like a Leeds United or a Sheffield United or a Burnley next season if we're still in the Championship. And it could be the same for Southampton as well. I still think, I think they'll be thereabouts. Ipswich, I'm not too sure whether they'll bounce straight back up again. I think perhaps this relegation could massively hurt Ipswich. But it's such a difficult... Hold on a second. So it's just the wife shouting. What was I saying there? This is what I'm trying to get from me. What was I saying there, Rich?
Talking about when Ipswich come down to the Championship.
Yeah. Whether they'll bounce straight back up again, I don't know. They've spent a lot of money, Ipswich Town, of getting them into the promised land. I don't know. Just something tells me about Ipswich that they could be a bit on a bit of free fall. It depends on how well they spend their money and what they've got. I mean, why hasn't it happened with Luton? People keep saying about the parachute payments. Look where they've gone. Southampton have been absolutely awful in the Premier League. Can you see them? Are they that bad at the moment? I mean, how would that current squad do in the Championship now? Do you know what I mean? So there could be a chance next season for Sunderland because of the poor quality in the bottom three. I only fancy Leicester to be up thereabouts in the top two next season.
Nice.
So I don't know. It's difficult, and it all depends as well who we keep and who we get to strengthen the squad as well. Hitch Pitch Gaming says it will be Hjelde, unfortunately, tomorrow coming in. And that's another name that gets mentioned. It doesn't really excite the players, the fans, should I say. Billy Harrison says if Serkin is not in the team tomorrow, we can always play Hjelde or Alessia. But Hitch Pitch says Alessia is still injured. Billy Harrison says, I mean, we can still play Hjelde tomorrow if Serkin is not in the team. Hitch says, I hope not. He says, Hjelde is awful, especially at left back. Hello, Alan Gardner. He says, we've taken a huge step forward this season. He says, and if we can hold on to most of our best assets in the summer, he says, we'll be a big threat next season. Our Speakman is very smart in the transfer windows, and he has made some cracking signings. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just frustrating with this Liverpool kid. I mean, I've still not heard anything else about the Liverpool lad. Have you?
He's definitely not playing. Oh, that's all I've heard. But that's just on social media, so I take things with a pinch of salt. But I keep saying it that he's not playing for us, so I'm kind of under the understanding that is the case now, you know what I mean? I just hope there was no money exchanged in that. And if there was, obviously, I hope we get it back, whatever it is. But
the Sunderland fans are going to focus on that, aren't they, though, if we didn't get up? Or we're a massive flop in the playoffs. So the Sunderland fans are going to focus on that. Of like, told you so, this is what happens if you didn't make the effort of getting that striker in.
100%, mate. They will. Yeah. But I just think, in my opinion now, Cabby, I don't know how you feel and how people in chat feel about it, but I'm just going to be putting these two results behind one now. I'm not going to go and watch this match tomorrow night, keep worrying about these last two games. I just want to go into it, watch the lads sort of like with a fresh mind, and just hopefully we'll get this win tomorrow night and we can put this little bit of bad form behind it and move on and obviously secure a spot in the playoffs first and foremost. And then if we have that chance at second place, at least having attempted it. But we've got to just say, right, look, it's happened. We've got 12 games remaining. That should crack on now. We've got to. But that's just me. I just think that, we've got to go into it with a fresh mind. And just hopefully we will win tomorrow. And hopefully we will put a little streak together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are still a bit down because, like you said, that Leeds defeat was awful to take. Getting some more news and stuff about Dennis Serkins is out of tomorrow's game. Oliver Bainbridge has been training with the first team. And Bailey just says, not like he'll be a miss. He's been rubbish anywhere these days. Michael says Serkins been caught drink driving, apparently. And somebody else has said apparently there's a drink problem at SAFC. Obviously lack of man management and discipline. Serkin out tomorrow, caught drink driving, Bainbridge in, but I bet it's Helder. There's a lot of people saying about Serkin and stuff, so it's not a good image if it is it?
Definitely not. Definitely not a good image. Not for him and not for the club either. Oh, here we go. Is this it? Oh no, this is off from a while ago. I'll have to look at that when we've obviously finished and see if we can dig anything out. But I think it's a little bit harsh what that comment said. Like, he hasn't been good. I think he has, and I think him and Trey Hume have probably been up there with the top two.
Yeah.
This season, I mean, yes, every player has a different form, but Dennis Serkin, I mean, I think he's quality. I think he is, and so is Trey Hume.
Oh, they've been rocks, haven't they?
Oh, I just think it's a little bit harsh sometimes, you know what I mean, when they don't really deserve it. But I can see Dennis Serkin moving up the Premier League, and I can see Trey Hume going up there as well. I think that, in my opinion, I think that they are quality enough to play in that league.
Yeah, we've all seen what they can do. Speakman is a good person, says Billy. He says, we also need to get promoted this season so we can play in a proper derby instead of the fake derby, which is Middlesbrough. He said, Hitch Game, he says, the club won't officially announce the Liverpool kid is out for the season. He says, it will make the club look daft. And Billy Harrison reckons we will win 2-1 tomorrow. We'll soon find out. Is it another 8 o'clock kick-off? I presume it's on Sky again.
Yeah, it is.
Ollie Alexandra, hello mate. He says, what happened to Serkin? If he is, why don't we put 09 left back and Meffin and Sealt centre back? I think Meffin is going to go and get a shout out, isn't it? I don't know. So, what's your prediction for tomorrow then?
Well, I'm hoping, or what I think, that's two things at the minute, I think. But I just kind of see we're scoring a lot of goals. To be fair, Cabby, I think we'll win maybe 1-0. It'll push 2-0, but I can't see we're scoring anymore. But like we said against Hull, I didn't want to jinx it again, but I hope we smash them. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But nah, we didn't score more than 2 goals anyway, so maybe it's 1 or 2-0. Be very happy with that, bud. What do you reckon, mate?
Tomorrow, it's a tricky one. That I don't think the point's good enough, really, is it? I mean, would fans be happy with a draw?
I
To
wouldn't
stop
be.
as long as we didn't get 3 defeats on the bounce. We cannot play as bad as what we did against Hull. Surely, God. I'm going to go for 2-0, the lads. I'm going to go for Isidore. And I fancy 09 to sneak one as well. Billy Harrison says, yeah, most of our games are on Sky. Yeah, they are. Ollie says, I think it will be 3-0 to SCFC with Isidore, Mundell and Brown. Hitchpick Gaming says, Sealed hasn't played for a year. He says, doubt Regis Labrie will risk him. Plus, he likes Yelda as well.
Yeah. Probably will be held up more than likely, I would imagine, then if that's the case.
Aye.
I can't see him putting up 09 and mess him in the middle. That's crazy that about Serkin. Hopefully it's
Would you be concerned if Sunderland just equally played as bad against Hull and say they lost, say, a 2-0 or a 3-0 or something like that? Or would you say there's some sort of problem here? Something not right. Not saying that it's going to happen, of course, but I mean, if it did, I mean, would you be concerned, or would you just think, oh, it's a mini blip?
I'd be definitely concerned if we lost tomorrow.
John 73 says 3-0 Sunderland for Davey. Well, pass that on to him, John, mate.
I wouldn't be that mad though if we did draw, to be fair, because it is a step in the right direction. But I still wouldn't be happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying no. It depends on the performance. I think, Cabby. I think that's what we've got to take it off. But we've got to, if we're serious about what we want to do, if we're serious about getting promoted, we've got to start doing it, and then we will get answers in the next few games. We'll know where we stand. I think a bit better, and I think we'll know what the club and Labrie's plans are really. But we've got to have a few more games just to sort of like find out, or we're going to have a go here or we're not.
Billy Harrison says, I hope the team has had a big talking to and play really well tomorrow. That's all we ask for, to be quite honest with you. Alan Gardner says, the lads to win 9-4.
I love that 9-4 why not, eh?
We're 4-0 down and we'll come back to win 9-4.
Wonder what odds you would get for that.
Look, as we say every week, it's not going to be an easy game. Hillsborough, they'll be up for that. There'll be a big crowd there. It's a noisy place, good fans. And if Sunderland can quieten Ellen Road for 80 minutes, then there's no reason why they can't do the same at Hillsborough. And we could just have a bit... I think we've got too much for them.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. I really do. As you say, it's time to put the Leeds and Hull game behind us now. It's a fresh match tomorrow. Wipe the slate clean, and it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see a good performance and a good 3 points tomorrow. So we're just about at the end of the show as well. We are at the end of the show. Steady 31 people on a Thursday night popping in. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I didn't advertise the show either, and I should do. I've just been that busy. Colin Major, hello Colin, you alright mate? He says, watch the training session today on YouTube, and to me Rig just didn't look up to it when he came out. How many games will Serkin be banned for, says Ollie? Well, we don't know if that's true or what, or a rumour. I don't know at all. So Richard, you enjoyed the show tonight?
Oh, it's always, buddy. I always like having a bit of crack.
I
just hope next time we come on, we're going to have these big smiling faces. We're going to be buzzing. You know what I mean? And honestly, Cabby will have to fresh start tomorrow, and I reckon we will. I reckon we'll win tomorrow.
We'll certainly do and all. Well, thanks everybody for supporting the channel tonight. Sorry I didn't advertise it, so a lot of people didn't know. Pixel Rich has just said, smashing lads. Hello Pixel, I'm glad you're well. Cheers for tuning in, mate. And it's always here for catch up if you want to have a look back and see what we've been talking about. But Richard, cheers again, mate, for popping in.
Bye.